Hey everybody, welcome back. I got a little bit of progress to report here, and I had an urge to, I shouldn't say urge, but the two projects I'm working on, they were taking a lot of scratch building, so I kind of thought I wanted to try something that would be pretty easy. And of course, knowing me, I can't keep anything easy. I decided to get out this 40 Ford Coupe. I always build drag cars, but now I decided I want to build a street rod. I have a few on my list, but I decided to pick this one. Thought it'd be something easy and quick. Well, like I said, if you know me, nothing's ever easy and quick. I was going about it with the stock frame. I want it low. That's the thing. I want to make it really low, and I don't want to put the flat-headed motor in it that it came with. So in order to put a different motor, I wanted to stick with Ford and Ford here, so I went through a 427 Cammer, 428 Cobra Jet, like an FE style, which FE is what I wanted to use, but because it's front sump oil pan, it's in the cross member, and the cross member wanted to move up anyway to try to lower the car, so that was kind of out unless I made it a rear sump oil pan, which I could have done, but I decided to try the 427 Cammer, which was kind of a better fit, but it didn't. There was something that didn't fit. I think it was the firewall, maybe. So then I remembered I had some 351 Clevelands, so I grabbed one of them and one of my resin, bunch of miscellaneous resin pieces for the Cleveland. It's actually not a Ford transmission, but nobody's going to know that when it's in. But anyway, this seems to fit the best. But then instead of trying to keep it simple, I got this brainstorm of using the 41 Willys street rod frame. I figured that would be an easier way to make it low. Well, the best laid plans don't always work out. So what I ended up, I realized that it's not the same wheelbase. So what I ended up having to do, I have it mocked into position here and temporarily white glued in. And the wheelbase was too short in the front, so what I did is I cut the frame off, and then in order to get it sitting low like I wanted, I had to step it down. I don't know how much you can see here. I got some white glue drying on the front end pieces, so I don't want to move it around too much, but you can see here I had to step it up, and then it's going to go straight. That way it'll get the car nice and low. And then when I started to mock up the rear end, I wasn't sure what suspension I was going to use, but since I got the Willys frame, I might as well use the Willys suspension. And to put that in the wheel wells, as you can see, I'm pretty far off. So now I'm going to have to cut the back half off, move that back till I can, center up the wheels. So this is turning into a major project, which is not really what I wanted, but it is what it is. So it's a challenge, and I always say, we're model builders. We're not model assemblers. Some people are, the box stock type deal, take a kit box stock, but I can't ever do that. I need to change things, and it seems like my changing things get kind of a little more involved, but it's part of the fun for me. So I want what I want. I want the car to sit down nice and low. So this is how I got to do it to get it the way I wanted it. I mean, I could have done major surgery on this 40 frame, and maybe that would have been the better route to go, because then I would have still had the Willys frame for something else. I mean, I'm going to build probably 2, maybe 3 more Willys coupes, couple coupes and a sedan. But for those, I've been using pro stock type chassis, so I really didn't feel like I needed to save the Willys frame for the Willys. And they're good donors for for a lot of different things, and I have 2, so I'll still have 1 more after this. But that's my latest project. So let's go back to the old stuff. this Opel, the frame for the Opel is pretty much finished. It's not, you know, it's far from perfect, but I'm okay with it. And I was thinking about decals, and I last night I just, on a whim, I contacted this STS Decals, and I asked about making custom decals, and I told them what I wanted, sent them a picture of the real car, and there's not a lot of lettering. There's just some, you know, some door lettering here and a Midway auto body on here, but they quoted me a price of $15 and $5 shipping, so I thought that was pretty reasonable. And then I said, you know, maybe I should get 2 sets in case I mess something up. So for 2 sets, they're actually cheaper. I think it was $20 for the 2 sets and $5 shipping. So for $25, I'm going to have 2 sets, and of course, if I have 2 sets, I won't mess any up. But if I don't have 2, I'll screw them up, and then I'll be stuck. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but I sent them the money, and they said they're going to do up, you know, like a sample artwork and email it to me, and once I approve it, then they'll print them. So it shouldn't take too long, and I'm not ready, you know, don't have the body painted yet anyway. The paint job's going to be a little involved, and I noticed I have to do some more work up here. Looking at the pictures of the real car, this window opening's too high, so I need to close that up a little bit, and some more work around the windows. Actually, I'm ready for reprimer it and see how close I am to being ready for paint, but I think I'm a little ways off. But anyway, that sits on there. It's not, doesn't want to go into the correct position real easy, but it'll come down a little bit in the back, I think, but that's pretty close to the position. Then the Olds Pro Stock, I did get a little bit of primer on the body, and I got some assembly done on the chassis, which is coming along pretty nice, I think. I got the cage glued on, and I put the cage back on, put the body on to make sure the doors still fit, and they didn't quite fit. I have 2 holes in the front. I have this cage pinned so it would go back into position, but I had a mistake hole in the front, and I ended up having it in the wrong hole. That's when the door didn't fit, so I straightened that out. I didn't try it again since I glued the cage on, but it should be, if they're not a good fit, I mean, they're close enough that I can adjust, so it'll work out. But the engine's in. You can see I put the throttle linkage and the wire looms. Did more detail than I normally do. I got the parachute cable connected there and running to the back. Here's another one I don't normally do, fuel cell and batteries, because most of my stuff doesn't, you know, the trunk doesn't come off, but this one, the trunk will come off, so I wanted to put all that stuff in. I'm going to wire the batteries, run the fuel lines to the tank, and the rear is just about ready to go in, but I'm working on the drive shaft. I'm going to show you how actually nuts I really am, if I can find that drive shaft. I did something that nobody's ever going to see, but I saw somebody do it and I wanted to try it. Definitely can't see it on that end. Maybe I didn't do that end, but I tried opening up where the U-joints are. If you look, every time I move my hand it goes out of focus. But you can see little spaces where I drilled holes and went in there with a little hobby knife and opened it up a little bit. That's kind of overkill because nobody's ever going to see it. But like I said, I saw somebody do it on YouTube. I think it was Curtis Lowe maybe, and I thought, well, why not try it? But I know even when the drive shaft's in, if I turn it upside down, you're never going to see it. So I doubt that I'll do that again. It's really hard to get in there. If I had a tiny little file, I could probably open it up a little bit more, but yeah, that's good enough for something you're not going to see. And the last thing I got is, let me move the camera. I think if you remember, I was making a mold for the 32 Vicky. Well, I did a sample here with epoxy resin and came out pretty good, except for this would be actually be a good one for rusted out junker, because it's got some little holes in the bottom. And I'm thinking that's probably just the type of resin I used, and it wasn't, you know, I didn't have it filled all the way. I mean, it's sloshed out, but you gotta shake it, you know, roll it around and kind of get a surface coating, you know, on every place before you put the mold together. And this resin doesn't flow as good as the urethane. But I made the body, made a grill and a grill shell, and made a gas tank and a hood, but they were failures. I think the mold is okay, but I think it was the resin. And I made a frame, which didn't come out bad, except for here there was a light spot. I'm just playing, trying to see if I can repair this. But I think maybe when the weather cools off here, maybe I'll buy some more urethane resin and make a couple of those. And I'm sure by that time I'll find something else I might want to make. So I keep saying I'm done resin casting, and nobody believes me now, because I always go back on my word. I always say I'm done and I do it again anyway. But that's what I like to do. So anyway, that's about it for now. I'm trying to decide on a color for the 40, even though I'm a long way from paint. But I'd like to use some more of that pearl powder I got. But I'm thinking maybe like a red color. Not sure. Anybody got any ideas? Leave a comment, let me know. So that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.